So this is my favorite concept, the one that really, oh man, it really repositioned me when I was going through my rebirth. So going back to the thesis that we all have a life container, a life space, I call it container, and there's cracks in our container, and we're able to build ourselves a brand new container. This is one of the ways to do it. It's one of the doors into helping you build yourself a brand new life container. So for me, when I think about when I was felt the most alive, because I'm not a big fan of the word happy. I think happy can be slippery. I think happy can be a bumper sticker, right? And so I like the word alive. And when I think about when I feel, or when I felt the most alive, 80s, windbreaker, fat laces, 12 years old, spinning on my head, dad coming home, throwing books at me saying, "This is not why we came to America." It was the 80s, it was my wonder years. I was breakdancing and I was part of a crew. I was the runt, I was the smallest kid, so the older guys, the older boys protected me, so I felt very safe. And I just remember losing myself in flow states. And so it doesn't mean now, today, as a 49-year-old, to start breakdancing again, although it could. Unlocking your code means to connect to the part of you that you have disconnected with. Because life happened, because you went through a divorce, because you had kids, because you took a shitty job, whatever the reason. Because I believe that as we get older, and as life happens and we pay taxes and we fall in and out of love, we start disconnecting with ourselves, right? Especially if you're in an unhealthy relationship, or if you are doing something that is not lined with passion, if your career path is just punching clocks, because I've been there too, you start to disconnect with yourself. And it may be a slow process, right? It's not overnight. And then you wake up and you really feel like you have drifted from you. And so when that happens, there are cracks in your container. I think this is a huge crack in your container, right? This is gonna stunt growth, stunt potential, and definitely not make you feel more alive. And so for me, I asked myself, what would it look like for me to connect to the parts of me that I have disconnected with? Because self-betterment is more about a reunion than anything else. And I wanted to connect to that 12-year-old kid in the 80s who was fearless and curious, and the world was big and he was spinning on his head. And that's one of the reasons why I gravitated toward functional fitness, to the early days of CrossFit, because it wasn't so much the workouts, it was, or it wasn't so much the aesthetics or what it did for me in that way. Those were all benefits, but it was the gymnastic movements that reminded me of the 12-year-old who was doing windmills and head spins, losing myself in flow states, challenging myself to, push my body. And so in that space, I felt a connection to self. It's also why I bought a motorcycle. I've had 6 now, and I continue to ride, because it wasn't just that throughout my life, starting with parents, people said no to me about buying a motorcycle, and I get it, it's coming from love, and then they think it's dangerous. So after my divorce, the first thing I did was get a motorcycle, but it was also the connection to the 13, 14-year-old zipping around the neighborhood on his little Honda Spree scooter, flip-flops and, Aquanet hairspray plastered in my hair, and feeling, I remember on my scooter, I felt the most free, and I felt like I was flying. And so the motorcycle, after my divorce at 35, connected me to that little Korean kid in the 80s zipping around on his scooter. And I still feel that. I still feel that reunion when I'm writing. And so that's another example. It's another way of me connecting to myself. So here's my question to you. What's a part of you that you have disconnected with? What's a part of you that you have disconnected with because of whatever happened, right? Because of the relationship, because of work, because of the kid, just because of life. And the more important question is, what does it look like to connect to that part again? And it may be more abstract, right? It may not be you buying a motorcycle or getting obsessed with butterfly pull-ups. It may be there's a connection to yourself, and the way that it ripples is a mindset, right? Maybe you like the way that you used to think, or maybe the way that you used to laugh unapologetically, or maybe the lightness in your walk or your energy, and maybe you've lost that throughout the years. And if so, losing that is going to put cracks in your life container. It's going to stunt your growth. So what would it look like to reunite with this person again? The spirit of this person that comes from your solid self and that makes you uniquely you and who you are. And that makes you like you. I hesitate with the word self-love. I know it's thrown around a lot. I don't really like it. I like the term self-like, because I think like has to be earned. You could love someone and it's a choice, right? Like, we love family members that we don't really like, but we love them as a choice, a daily choice, sometimes hard, because they're family. With you, instead of telling yourself, to love yourself, what does it look like to like yourself? Because like has to be earned. So for me at 35, this was 4 years of me getting to know me, doing a lot of things on my own. There's stories of Keanu Reeves eating sandwiches in the park, and they kind of make fun of that with memes and stuff, which I totally admire. I mean, I think he's, I don't know him personally, but what I see of him, he just seems like the sweetest guy and comfortable in his own skin to do things like eat a sandwich in the park or watch a movie with his helmet on. I felt like that for 4 years, just zooming around LA on my motorcycle, running at the beach, journaling, eating at restaurants by myself, walking the streets of LA with my headphones on. And it was all the process of getting to know me, getting to like me, right? And also the parts of me I don't like and what I want to do about that. That was all a part of this reunion. So for you, what does it look like to start the process of liking yourself? Maybe you already like yourself. Okay, how can you feed and grow that? What does it look like for you to connect to parts of you that you have disconnected with? By doing so, you are unlocking your code, you are connecting more to your solid self, and you are creating a safer container, which is going to promote your growth, not stunt it. It's going to allow you to expand instead of constrict.